Hey, it's Mike Rolowitz here, 904 Home Guide team with the XP Realty in Jacksonville Beach. And today, day I love. We're going to do a deep dive on the data. I'm pulling some data on interest rates from the Federal Reserve, looking at how just wild this recent run up in interest rates has been historically. So we're going to touch on that. Also going to look at the Jacksonville market. We're going to take it local and look at 20 years of appreciation and some depreciation data from the Federal Housing Finance Agency. That we're going to go back to 2002, look at the run up into '08, the deceleration, the deflation in prices, and then the current run up, including the 27% increase in 21, the year to date almost 15% increase we've seen in 2022. That's slowing a little bit, but just to put some color around, where buyers and sellers are in the market that we're in right now, because we've never seen an interest rate run up as rapid as we've seen. And honestly, it's unprecedented price appreciation, especially in Jacksonville, I think driven primarily by the ability during COVID to work from anywhere. I think a lot of people have found Jacksonville. I still think we're a highly, highly desirable area, and I don't see that changing. So we're gonna do a quick screen record here and walk through those two data sets, and really curious to get your thoughts on where you think the market is heading and when the buyers are gonna come back. What is that point in the interest rates where it starts with this and buyers re-enter the market? And also your thoughts on supply and demand and where prices might go in Jacksonville. So stay tuned. Thanks. All right, so as promised, we're going to do a little dive at the data here. Have a couple, the chart up top shows 30-year fixed rate mortgage and what that trend has looked like since 1984. So you can see back then rates 15 to 16% over time. Little drips and drabs, little movements, gradual, nothing like we see here at the end with this sharp increase. But you can see over time they've been dropping. Lowest point, historic lows, late 21 and early 22, and we had those sub 3, right around 3 interest rates, and then they've gone 6.9 as early as October of this year. So what's interesting about this, and I think it's in the psychology of a lot of buyers, is just how fast they went up. So 3 of the top 5 monthly increases in terms of basis point moves, this far right column, have come in calendar 22. And with these big moves of 79, 81, 89, you're almost 100 basis point move, almost a full percentage point. The impact on a buyer's buying power, every 100 basis points chops away 10% of their buying power. So it's very natural that our buyer demand has pulled back a little bit, because buyers that were looking for a house at a certain price point no longer qualify. They're having to adjust their needs and decide what they can live without, what they can sacrifice. All the while, sellers are figuring out what's going on in this new normal and what they need to do to get their property sold. So things like the 2-1 buy down that we've talked about, or just buying points or concessions to a buyer to get that property. And then if you look on the right side columns here, percent change in interest rates, similar story. Some of the largest moves have happened this year. So this, I think, really explains where that buyer demand, why it's going, has pulled back a little bit. We're starting to see on our team some buyers get back in the mix, take advantage of this place we are in the market. I think it's a sweet spot for buyers to be able to get that rate bought down and hope for further decreases to refinance and keep that lower rate over the long term. I think when they get down back into the 5s, 5 point whatever, I think a lot of folks that are still on the sidelines are going to jump back in, and we're hearing that obviously from some of our clients. So that's my take on interest rates, unprecedented hikes. Good news is, as of today, December 5th, as I'm filming, 6.29 is a rate I heard today. That's down lowest it's been since September, actually. So it's good news. We got CPI numbers coming, Consumer Price Index on inflation, December 14th. Really hopeful for good news there, which could give us another break on interest rates. And another quick chart here is promised. So this data just came out, updated through the third quarter of 22. And this is just Jacksonville. First chart was nationwide. This is looking at appreciation in Jacksonville starting in 2002. So the last 20 years. And you can see if you held a property in Jacksonville on average, you would be 211.7% better off by buying and holding that property. And this is despite the red bars here, which are when we saw the housing crisis, when we had 14 months of inventory, when we had substandard and subprime mortgages that collapsed the entire financial system. Good news is today we're not there. So while it's easy to draw comparisons to these big increases in 04 and 05 to what we're seeing in 21 and 22, very different economics that are driving these. What drove the price increases in 2020, 21, and 22 has been supply and demand. 21, on average in Jacksonville, we were in the 1 to 1.5 months of inventory. Contrast that, 2007, 14 months, and record low interest rates. So it was a perfect storm. Also, a large migration to Jacksonville was a part of this, and we're still seeing that. Again, we're constantly taking agent-to-agent referrals from agents in other markets that know the care we take of our clients and want to put them in good hands. And we're continuing to see this migration into Jacksonville from relocation buyers. So love to hear your thoughts on where you think interest rates are heading, where you think the Jacksonville market's going. We've seen third quarter of 22, we're down to 2.35% appreciation over the third quarter of 21, where we saw a 27% gain for the entire year. So might we see some red bars here? We may. I don't think we'll see big dips, but we may see some as sellers adjust their footing. And if inventory rises, it's been leveling off a little bit lately. So hope this was helpful and would love your feedback in the comments.